Well, my thing is, fuck the older people. I mean, I think Venus came up there was trying to get clear. I didn't get an opportunity to talk, but I guess I'm gonna do it now. Uh, this is why we dealing with what we dealing with because older people's already set in their goddamn ways. There's no changing them. They're not gonna move. They're not gonna make adjustments, and that's cool. Let them sleep in them ways. That's why we need to talk to the youth. That's why we need to influence the youth and have conversations with the youth and change them. Allow them to see the difference. Allow them to see something better. Teach them better. Show them better. Educate them. Just the same way with politics. We got to get some of these old heads out of here. Biden should have been gone. Should have never been in office. Too goddamn old. Trump either. Need to get some of these young politicians in here so things can be changed. Things can be done. Things can be corrected. So I'll leave it there.
All right. I wanted to say, like, I think I don't know, Kenny. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to kind of clarify what you were saying and the way I saw it. Right. The way I saw it is that traditionally, alpha men, like real alpha men, as far as I know, they've always had an element to them that has been seen as dangerous or like something that you just don't play with. Now, that's not to say that those men are abusive. But what I'm saying is traditionally, when you think of an alpha male, there's an element to that male that lets you know that if you play with this person, things will not go well for you. Whether that means play with them physically, whether play with them with your words, however it is, you don't play with them. That's my understanding of what an alpha male is. I think what Kenny was trying to say is today, women don't like those men with that element of fear in them. They prefer men that don't have that element of fear, that don't have that element of that little scariness. Every man should have a little bit of scariness because I think that scariness tells people like, yo, when he says something, I need to listen because this person's not a joke. And I think that women today are deferring more towards beta males, like Kenny said, which is men that don't have that little ounce of danger in them. And I think the reason why, and I think the result is what MJ was talking about. She said today, men and women are cursing at each other, talking to each other crazy at each other's names. And I think what Kenny's basically trying to say is in the past, that would never happen because there was a low level, there was some type of fear. Now, I'm not saying it should be the level of fear that's coercing you to the point where you're like, oh my God, I'm terrified. But it's kind of like the Bible says to fear God. There's a certain level of healthy fear that creates authority and respect. And when you don't have that, you end up having complete chaos. I want to use the police as an example, even though I know the police are a sensitive topic, but I want to use the police as an example because obviously we don't want the police killing innocent people. We obviously don't want them shooting unarmed people. But let's be real. If the police didn't have guns, there would be no order. The reason why there's order at all, any order, is because you see those men with guns on their hip. And when you see that gun, it's a subtle reminder that shit could go left if you don't fall in line. It's a subtle reminder. Now, you can find the nicest cop in the world, the most respectful, most kind, loving, caring cop in the world. And guess what? He still has a gun on his hip. And that's never going to change. That gun on his hip is what lets you know, don't play. So at the same time, I think what he's saying is that men today are missing a certain element of masculinity that inspires a certain level of respect. And there's a certain level of respect that is aligned. There's a certain level of respect that's right, where there's a thin line between that level of respect and fear. And I think that's what he's talking about. I don't think any man should be domineering over a woman, but I'm just saying that men today do not carry themselves in a way that strikes fear in women at all. So now, so when you're dealing with a woman, there's women who feel like they could talk to you anyway. And they don't realize that the men that they're talking to are dangerous. They don't realize that. Like
so
they just, but yeah, I'm a land there.
so I want to use your example like with the police, right? If you look at the relationship between the people who feel supported by the police, like the Blue Lives Matter crowd, right? They typically tend to follow their directions and side with them and do, they're pro police and they're trying to follow the laws with them. The ordinance is how it's set. Now, on the other hand, the black community is ruled by fear of the police, and a large portion of the black community absolutely hates them, celebrates when something bad happens to them, and wants to see them it protested to have them defunded. And I think we're conflating the way fear can get you a desired result versus the ultimate outcome of how that fear manifests itself. Now, if you were to transition those to how relationships, the interactions during relationships, what I'm saying is by creating the healthy dynamic that the people who have the Blue Lives Matter people have with the police, you get healthy interactions and you can get compliance through respect. The relationship with the black community and the police is one of fear. And even if you're not having an interaction with the police and they're not doing anything negative to you, there's still a layer of fear in there that can be traumatic to someone. And that ultimately will never end in a positive relationship between those two. And like
That's because of abuse.
but I would agree. I would agree.
So
But
I would
when you
agree
get
with that. I think if abuse is present, then obviously there will be an unhealthy fear. I 100,000,000,000% agree with you. If you got police that are out there frisking everybody for no reason, they shooting people for no reason, then obviously there's going to be an unhealthy fear of police. But what I'm saying is, even in the communities where they have great relationships with the cops, even in those communities, let's imagine the whitest neighborhood you've ever thought of. Blue Lives Matter. Every cop is white. Everyone's related. They all know each other. Those cops still got guns, bro. So I'm just saying that there's a healthy level of danger that that's necessary for authority. Cops have to have weapons. If cops did not have weapons, this country wouldn't work. Now, do I think that you should be kind? Absolutely. But I just think that women today don't look at men with the same reverence women of the past do. I think women of the past would think, let me not say something disrespectful to this man because this could go bad for me. I think women today don't have that chip. There's something in their mind that goes, I could say what I want.
Cloud,
I could do what I want because at the end of the day, this nigga ain't gonna do shit no way. He ain't gonna do nothing. I can say what I feel. And I think if there was, and I'm not saying any man should put their hands on women. I'm just saying if there was that little air of danger, I think that might actually help the relationships for women to be like, you know what? This nigga's like 6 foot something, 200 pounds. Maybe I shouldn't call him a bitch ass nigga. You know what I mean?
so
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like,
So
this
Cloud,
nigga's is clearly upset. He's clearly upset. Maybe as a woman, I should put my arm on his shoulder and calm him down because this is a dangerous being I'm dealing with, and I have to respect that. But the women today are not respecting the danger that men are capable of. And I think
the punishment that you're speaking of, the danger, that's the aspect of removing yourself from the relationship or no longer providing the protection.
What happens when you have a wife, bro, and kids? You can't just
So Clout, the question that I was asking is what is that fear of? What is the healthy fear they should have of? The fear of what consequence? What consequence?
I don't think the fear should be necessarily of a particular consequence, but
but it has to be. What are you afraid of?
I don't.
Right.
It's hard to define. I'm gonna tell you why it's hard to define because like when I was young, I can only use my pops as an example, right? There's a certain tone he spoke with that let me know he wasn't playing. Now, that tone didn't mean he was gonna punch me in my shit. It didn't mean he was gonna beat me unconscious, but I knew that there was a possibility that something physical could happen that I wouldn't like. So because I respected his physical presence and I respected what he was capable of, I knew not to cross lines with my father. I showed my father the utmost respect because I knew I respected what he was, and that was a grown-ass man. I respected the power of that and what that capability was. And as a young boy,
Claude,
I wouldn't play with that.
I dig that.
After
Claude,
Venus, I would like to say something, please.
Please.
I was only going to say something real quick. So, Cloud, I grew up in a Caribbean household too, so I understand that particular fear well, but it doesn't translate the same with the relationship, right? So I just wanted to know clearly, like what, because I understand with, father, son, that makes sense. But what is it that the female should be afraid of specifically? That's all I'm trying to get. Like, what is it that she should be?
She should be afraid of being disrespectful.
No. What's the consequence that she's supposed to be afraid of specifically as a female on the other side of the relationship?
I think today the only consequence is walking away. Obviously, that's the only consequence we could do anyway. That's the only option.
You can't. Walking away. Wait. You can't even do that because
I mean, if you got kids in the family,
put you on child support. I'm gonna get you for half
Alimony.
your stuff. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna ruin your life. So, like I said, the rules favor them. I never say anything about beating on no woman. A woman should have a natural fear of getting up in a man's face and wishing to get aggressive because it can go bad. She should have a
Because
natural,
that makes
okay, if
sense.
you want me to say it, she should have a natural fear about being up in a man's face, hitting a man and doing something and expect nothing to happen.
So Kenny P, it sounds like we have nothing. We have nothing in our at our disposal for women to be afraid of, right? We're eliminating the physical aspect because that's just not practical, right? But we can't even leave if after marriage and children because you're screwed.
After I made my comparative, not the one that supposedly I condoned. In closing, I said the only thing that we could do is be aspirational and keep trying. That's what I said to AP. Keep trying.
No, I did that.
I didn't say anything about beating, subjugation, anything. I said you got to keep trying.
No. I wasn't saying that. I was just because that's why I asked you earlier.
Trev, I wanted to be heard because when I was saying that, a certain female that's up here was trying to label me as something, cherry picking what she chose. I said the only thing that, in closing, I said the only thing you could do is keep trying. That's why I got on my brother Marcus. Stop and look at where we at.
What did I label you as? In my opinion, is that women should stay away from men.
What did you say about me and be truthful?
I'm literally saying it again. In my opinion, is that women should avoid men like you. It hasn't changed. That's how I feel. I didn't label you as anything. I just, the way you think, I deem a problematic personally, right?
Okay.
I'm just one person, but that's how I feel.
So what about, just for clarity, because maybe I didn't catch it, what about me women should stay away from? Because what would I do that would clearly be something that women should stay away from? Could you answer that for me?
Yeah, you just seem to be a person who thinks that women should be like punished in some way or have some consequence if she's not like doing what you want her to do, when the reality is she should have a consequence, but the consequence should be you leaving her. Like, I wanted to say something.
Okay,
also
wait.
Mm-hmm.
So what's my consequence that you believe that I exhibit? Go.
Say again.
What's the consequence? You said the other way is women should be able to leave. You believe I have another consequence? Yes.
No, I said you should be able. Your consequence should just be to leave. Is what I said.
Yeah, but you said I am that guy that women should stay away from. The consequence was given by Marcus.
So for me personally, right? Any man in when in a conversation, if he's referencing in the past when it was okay for physical discipline, just as a woman, I'm be honest with you, there's a red flag in my mind as soon as I hear that, right? So me personally, I would just stay away from that. That's just that.
You know, the irony of that is you're kind of proving his point. That's the irony of it, because the irony is, right, all he did was have a conversation about punishment, right? Just a conversation about discipline was enough for you to say, to kind of disqualify him as a man, right? So if you kind of think about it, he was right in his point that women don't want alpha men, they want beta men, because any man that tries, because what you've shown is that if a man tries to impose any form of authority, it will be viewed as some form of abuse. Because, like, let me give you an example, right? Let's say
Well, you're wrong.
you're dating a man,
Before
right?
you
Let's say
wait,
you're dating a man.
before you go, you're
Hold on,
wrong.
let me just finish. Let's say you're dating a man, and, like, what's stopping you from calling him a bitch ass nigga if you don't like something he said? What's stopping you from disrespecting him?
It's called respect. That's
But
it.
what causes you to have that respect?
Because he's respectful to me.
Okay, so what happens if you're upset now? So let's say, okay, normally y'all have a respectable relationship, but it's Tuesday night, y'all have a disagreement. He doesn't like something you're wearing, you disagree. He's trying to lead as the man. You don't want to hear what he has to say. You're in his face, bitch ass nigga, bitch ass nigga. You're basically saying the way to correct that is by leaving.
First of all, that whole scenario in my mind would not escalate to being in his face calling him a bitch ass nigga. Like, but yeah, a man should
Okay, so
leave.
what if it was a
Like,
woman who did do that? What would you
then
think
he
is the
should
proper
never deal
recourse
with
to
her
deal with it?
again. Like, y'all really overcomplicate life. She
So
So
doesn't
now, what if
Venus,
this
respect
is the
you.
mother of his child?
Hold, she does
What if
not
this is someone
respect
he
you.
shares property with? What if this is
Listen to
someone
what
who
I'm
his life is
saying.
intertwined with?
She doesn't respect you. You need to leave. The end. Like, you're overcomplicating it. If
so
I
she's
agree.
talking to
Venus,
you like that, she
so
doesn't
I hear what
Venus.
you're
respect
saying.
you.
I
Wait,
hear what you're saying.
Cloud, give me a second. So Venus, when you came up here with all that bravado, and you know
All of
you
what
had your,
bravado? Like, what?
you were like, I'm talking to you.
Because I
Did you say
was.
that?
Because you said you're trying to paint us, and it wasn't a us. I was directly, first of all, I was in the chat talking about what you said. That was it.
And would you agree that
But
you
what you're
cherry
essentially
pick?
saying is what you're saying is that there is no recourse for a man to take authority. Essentially, what you're saying is, if he gets disrespected, his only recourse is to leave. So, at any point the relationship gets disrespectful, there's no point where he can instill his authority because there's nothing he
It,
can do but leave.
it's plenty of ways to discipline somebody without having to physically touch them. And I also think
Sure,
that I don't know how y'all
Marcus, you don't
associate.
see what you're
I agree
doing.
with that.
Marcus, you have no idea what you're doing right now.
I'm arguing the point.
No,
And
you're
that's,
not. You empowering them. You're putting a battery in their back.
I agree with her.
So what parts do you agree?
So
Because
I
she
so I'll say
typecast me as a
exactly.
certain type of man. So let me
No,
hear
I'm
you
not talking
expound
about
on
that
that.
point.
Hold on. This is a real question.
Question,
Is it ever appropriate?
you
Is
understand
there ever a
my
situation
conversation.
where a human needs to be disciplined physically? Let's not make it men and women. Let's have a real conversation. Is there any circumstances, right, where a human being deserves to be disciplined physically? Does that exist in your mind or not, Marcus?
You don't
Human
see the
beings, not men
problem
or
that
women,
you're
just human.
fixated on,
So,
like
so like, like,
physically
like so let's
disciplining
say,
somebody.
so Marcus,
May
so
I
Marcus,
say
hold on, let me
something?
finish talking about
Hold
Marcus.
on,
Marcus, let's
y'all. We
imagine
got
me
to
and you
get
in the
some
street.
order on the one
Let's
mic.
say me and you
Yeah.
was in the street, Marcus, as men,
Mhm.
right? Me and I disrespect you.
Mhm.
Do you believe that the best way to deal with the disrespect is to just walk away, or do you feel that there could be a point where the only way to correct this is physically? Do you
I
believe that
believe
that
that
happens?
no, I believe the only way to correct it would be physically, right? And I
So
also
you
Okay,
understand.
sound like a
so wait, hold on.
hypocrite.
So they're not.
You
Hold on.
sound like a
I want to pause
hypocrite.
you there.
Men could
My
be
statement.
corrected. Children could be
Hold
corrected.
on,
A
y'all.
woman
Like, y'all
can't.
got to let Marcus finish. I got to let Marcus finish his
Wow.
point.
So I think no, I asked him that question to get back to a point. So I just think that the overall point that Kenny was trying to make is that we accept that in reality, in the world, in interpersonal relationships, physicality is often a way to get a person to show respect. Like, we understand that as men. And what he's just saying is that what he's saying is that in the old times, women understood that physicality in men and didn't provoke that physicality in men because that physicality was something they were afraid of. I think what he's saying now
Exactly.
is that women not only do they not respect that physicality in men, but what he's also saying is that they deliberately avoid men that have that because they don't want any authority at all. I think that's what he's trying to say. Meaning, like, if the dude even talks with a little bass in his voice, she's not gonna want to rock with him. You want to know why? Because she's gonna say, "Oh, you're sassy," or "You're the type of man that," the same way she just did with Kenny.